This is from Dog Pound Daily. Casey Kinnamon wrote an article, 3 burning questions the Browns must answer during training camp. Number 1, can they count on Cade York? Number 2, are the Browns set at defensive tackle? And also, do the Browns have enough behind Nick Chubb at running back? Let's welcome in Casey Kinnamon from Dog Pound Daily. Casey, when you kind of go through that, you know, the Cade York question is a fair one. You're not going to know till the games, are you?
No, but they might get an inkling behind the scenes, you know, seeing how he's striking the ball, because his rookie season was a roller coaster. This time last year, we were all excited. We were hearing out of training camp how the ball was just exploding off his foot, and you saw these clips coming through, and he was nailing 60-yarders, and then his first game comes, he hits a 58-yard game-winning field goal. You know, we were feeling pretty good about him. And then he went through the yips. You know, it wasn't the fact that he was just missing field goals, that there was a less than 0% chance the second the ball left his foot many times. He wasn't just misjudging the wind. So it was kind of in his own head and had to recalibrate. And, you know, I think he made like 75% of his field goals. They need that number to be in the, mid 80s, just to be realistic, and as much as the Browns are all in 23, they cannot afford to let the fact that they drafted a kicker allow them to lose games. No matter how much offensive firepower they added or the defensive, adjustments they've made, these games come down to, 3 or 4 plays most of the time. And a lot of those times that falls on the leg of your kicker. So they have to feel confident going with Cade York into the season. If not, they have to at least have a contingency plan in place.
Yeah, that's fair. Defensive tackle is another one. And I guess the question I have with that is, can we expect the defensive tackles to improve that were here because of what Jim Schwartz is going to ask them to do? Are they going to be put in better situations? Maybe that's a better way of phrasing it.
You would absolutely think they would be. But, this problem is going back 2 years where they were going into seasons banking on someone taking a step, and as we saw last year, that just didn't happen. So it's something they can't bank on. They did work in the defensive tackle room, which we got to be grateful for that, because last year that didn't happen. You go get a Dalvin Tomlinson, a bona fide starter. You draft a guy in Ika who brings something new to the table. He's a huge body. You got a couple scratch off lottery tickets in Maurice Hurst and Tristan Hill, and if one of those players turns out, then we're in a much better place. But they're going to get to find out through training camp. You're going up against the Browns offensive line day in, day out. That's a great test. But that August 17th preseason game, the week leading up to that Eagles game, they're going to Philly for joint practices. They're going to know whether they're stout enough up front by the time they leave those practices.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. If you're starting to hear whisperings about how good the Browns defensive line or defense is after those joint practices, could be that's a really good sign for the season. I would agree. And then, do they have enough behind Nick Chubb? The Browns clearly like what they have in Jerome Ford.
Yeah, and it's going to be the Jerome Ford show this preseason. He's going to get all those reps and all those opportunities. People were kind of down on him, which is puzzling to me, because he just flat out didn't have the opportunities to show what he could do last year. He was behind Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. He was a fourth-string running back. It is what it is. He was returning kickoffs. And from all indications, he's going to be doing that again. That's going to be one way he can get involved. But he needs to show that he can step in at a moment's notice, and the offense can function with him in it, because if Chubb goes out for any reason, that's the guy you're going to be banking on. Yeah. And they may even decide that that's the role they want him in, just to be the backup bell cow, and they might have to go find a third down back, or he might occupy that space. This training camp is going to be huge for Jerome Ford.
Yeah, especially those games and the joint practices. He needs to show that, that what they believe in him is true.